Good to see all of you. Good morning. We're going to get started today. We're going to be making Earth Day pancakes. I figured it was Earth Week, and so I wanted to do something kind of in that realm. So we're going to start with our ingredients. You need about 1.5 cups of flour. You need 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of white sugar. So I've got those all here. You need 1.25 cups of milk. I like to use whole milk because I just think it tastes better. 1 egg and 3 tablespoons of melted butter. And so when we get to the melted butter, we're going to use the microwave. Please be careful because it'll explode if you do a little bit too much, though. Let me grab 1 egg here. Got my eggs, and put my egg out here. Perfect. And we are ready to go. So you will need, you'll need 2 bowls. I'm using a main mixing bowl right here. And then I'm using a small bowl because you're going to be splitting it into 2. And you're going to be mixing in food coloring. So, and we'll talk about that. You also need, if you have it, if you don't have it, it's no big deal. I got blue and green food coloring. Got that? And we'll get to that in just a minute. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to mix all of our dry ingredients. So the first thing we're going to have, let's take our 1.5 cups of flour and let's toss it in the bowl there, right? And then we're going to do our baking powder. Not to be confused with baking soda. I've done that recently. Baking powder, and we're going to go 3.5 teaspoons. So we take our teaspoon, scoop it, and then there's a little ridge. Take that ridge, flatten it out. There's 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to estimate just a little bit here. Kind of put half of it in there. Kind of see half and pour that in. All right. So we're good there. Then we have our 1 teaspoon of salt. Salt. Perfect. 1 teaspoon. It's amazing how much of a difference that makes. 1 tablespoon of white sugar. Now, this is a personal preference. I'm going to do 1 tablespoon, right? And I'm using, white sugar. But then because I like my pancakes a little bit on the sweeter side, I do this with my waffles as well. I add just a little bit extra, but that's me. You don't have to do that. And then, there you go. Put this back. There you go. And now I need, I'm going to put in my, my egg. 1 egg. Rinse my hands off so I don't get egg all over everything. And then I've got my milk. I've got 1.25 cups of milk. So I come over here, take my, right, measure this out, 1.25 cups. There you go, 1.25 cups. In there. There you go. And then I'm going to give it a quick stir. Before I add the butter, just to kind of get it going. When you're stirring, make sure you're getting all the sides, right? You want to get all that flour, all that mixture. This is my daughter. Say good morning, Sage.
Good morning.
Good morning. So she's going to stir that while I melt the butter. So right here we got our butter. We got our microwave behind me. I'm going to put it in for about 20 seconds. Don't do it any more than that. because you don't want it to pop and blow up all over the place. So let me do that here. Put it in here. So while I'm waiting for that real quick, she's stirring. Give me a good stir. Make sure you keep stirring that, right? And then we'll wait here. We'll see how the butter goes. It's like I said, it's better to undercook than overcook. Okay. And so let's look at my butter. All right, so my butter, it looks pretty good. It's got a, it's pretty close. Actually, you know what? That's good enough. That's good enough. As long as it's really soft, where you can mix it in. Like I said, it's better to undercook it than to blow it up. I've done that. So now I'm going to add this. So then we need to stir that. Can you stir that for me again? We need mixing all that butter. Go ahead and hold the handle. Here you go. Is it hard? It's tough. Here, I'll help you out. So, a little bit of muscle going here. That butter. Here you go. That all nice. Looks pretty good. One thing I'm noticing is it looks good. Looks pretty good. Looks a touch thick. So I'm going to add, only for me, if yours looks fine, sometimes measurements, you try to be as exact as possible. But I wanted a little bit on the a little more milky side, just because that's what I like. And so I'm going to put just a touch. A little bit goes a long way. There you go. Mix that in. Oh, that's much better. I should pour much easier. And make sure you get the sides really well. Right, make sure you get those sides. All right. So there you go. So now you're done. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your batter and it's really bright in here. And so you're going to take your batter and you're going to put it into 2 containers. Okay. So the first container, I'm going to use this pour. Okay. So I'm going to pour about, put it right in there. Trying to make a mess all over my cabinet counter, so I'll put that there. And I'm going to pour it in here. And I'm going to fill this. This is going to be my main color. So I'm going to fill it up quite a bit. There you go. Quite a bit. There you go. That's good. And then in a little container, a little tiny container, I'm going to put a little bit. See how this works? There you go. All right, good. Here we go. All right, good. So now I've got 2 containers. I've got Sage. Yes, I do. Thank you, Sage. I got 2 containers. One is going to be blue. So now when we think about the earth and its proportions, right? Blue is the larger proportion, right? So it's going to be most of the earth. So we're going to put just a couple of drops. So yeah. So we put it here. Good for this. 1, 2, okay, let's go 3, there you go. That's it, and then I'm gonna take my whisk and I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna mix that all in, right? Make sure I get down to the bottom, all right? Now we've got blue. It's gonna be the water portion of our earth that we're making. Yes, honey bun? I didn't. I just did it so that I could see myself in the video. Okay. Okay. There you go. So now, that looks pretty good. That's your water. It's not the time. It's not the time. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to rinse this off because I don't want to get my water. All right. If you have a second spoon, go ahead. I am just that way. There you go. It's not right. Okay. So now, I have my green portion. So I take my green now. Now this is a much smaller portion. I'm not going to need nearly as much food coloring. So 1 drop. 1 drop. And then I'm going to mix that up. See if I can mix that up. There you go. Ooh, it's getting better. There we go. Perfect. There you go. Green. So now I've got my blue and I've got my green. And now we're going to see how artistic I am. So, all right. So now we're going to move on over. Okay. Here we go. All right, here we go. So now we're cooking. So I'm going to turn my oven on, my stove on, and I'm going to turn it on. And we're going to get it fairly warm. I like to cook on medium high. I know my wife would disagree with me on this. She likes to cook on low medium. Let me see. Can you see everything there? Okay, perfect. That's better. That's better. Now you can see a little bit of everything. Okay. All right. So now I take my I'm a butter person. So some people you go this route, right? You go make sure because you'll definitely burn your pancakes. But I like to use I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. I like to use butter. Take a little bit of butter, throw it on the bottom of the pan, let it heat up, spread it out. A little more. Perfect. And if you're going to make an error with butter, more is always better. Okay? Pour the extra tab in there. Save that for later. Okay. So now we're pretty good here. So now we need our main portion of our earth. So we take our main portion. Stepped off the screen here for a second. I found that my earth wasn't as mixed as I thought it was. So I'm just going to give it a couple extra turns here with a spoon. There we go. All right. So now, you got it? I'm going to make it as round as possible. Just kind of let it do its thing here. It might be an oval. That's okay. There we go. Okay. So now I've got my earth. Right, you guys see that? Okay. There you go. And now I'm going to add my land to it. And so I'm going to kind of try to get to where I get a little Africa going. There you go. Not perfect, but I never claim to be. There you go. Now, so when do we flip? So we got our earth, right? Not bad. Not bad. You get the point. Take your spatula, and you're going to keep it in good shape. Try to keep it in a circular shape here. And you can kind of go around the edge, and you can clean it up as it's heating here, right? As it's heating, kind of clean it up, make it nice and round if you want, right? And then when it starts to bubble, so you'll see some bubbles come in. It'll kind of bubble, and it'll bubble all the way around. There you go. Mine's just kind of starting a little bit. You can see it starting to bubble. When it gets to where the bubbles are pretty consistent all the way around through your pancake earth, right? Then you're going to flip it. And then when you flip it, I like to immediately reshape it because there's going to be a little bit of runoff. It's super normal. It happens because the top's still soft, right? Top's still soft. Okay, here we go. So we're going to flip this now. Here we go. Ooh, not bad, not bad. I probably could have flipped it a second earlier. Story of my cooking, right? I'm going to turn my heat down a little bit. It's kind of hot. All right. And so there's my earth, and then there we go. It's looking pretty good. Now the underside, right, obviously is going to be dark. So when I eat it, I'm going for effect, right? So I'm going to flip it back over. There we go. Looks pretty good. And I'll flip it here. I'll show you real quick. Flip it back over, right? And it'll kind of look okay. It's not great, but I think I'm a little hot. You know, turn it down a little bit. Give that one more minute here. Grab my plate. My plate. All right. No more. Grab my blueberries because I like to have fruit. There we go. You might have your own fruit, whatever makes you happy. And there you go. Now I've got butter, I've got some syrup on the table, and I'm ready to go.